Hurting my belly? See the train over there, Casey? Going through that area. That's a little train again. Yeah. Ready to go.
Here we go.
Yep. Whoop, okay. Sounds good.
Wavy bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Hesston Steam Museum. Just a point of safety as we get underway. Please remain seated at all times. Please keep your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the train at all times. And the only thing that smokes on this train is the locomotive. You are riding on the Hesston and Galena Creek narrow gauge railway. Today we're being pulled by the Sandley 242. This is a steam locomotive that is coal-fired. We run pressure at about 150 psi.
Your phone froze?
And it was built by the
I thought your phone froze for a
Railway
minute.
Works in the 1960s up in Wisconsin, Dells, Wisconsin. And it was built for the Brookfield Zoo in Chicago, Illinois. Closer together than today's standard gauge railways. Standard gauge rails are 4 foot 8.5 inches apart, but the ones we're riding on today are 2 feet apart. Now you may say, wait a minute, I see 3 rails out there. We do have a dual track system here because we have other narrow gauge steam locomotives and passenger cars that use a 3-foot track. They're both considered narrow gauge. Narrow gauge was used extensively in the early days of railroading because it was far more economical to build for smaller trains, but they can make very tight turns and climb much steeper hills than today's standard gauge trains. This was very advantageous to the mining and logging and lumber companies back in the 1800s and the early 1900s. Again, that's one of the reasons why narrow gauge was here. There were a couple narrow gauge railways actually in Michigan that did logging. As we make our way up the longest climb of the hill here today, we're going to be going up at what's called a 5% grade. That means that for every 100 feet that we travel forward, we're going to rise by 5 feet. Once we reach the top of this hill, which we call Glacier Pass, we'll be a little over 60 feet above the train station we just left. Well, we've made it to Glacier Pass. We're 725 feet above sea level. This is the highest point on our museum property. Speaking of the museum, it was started in 1956 and was originally known as the LaPorte Historical Steam Tractor Society. There was a member of that society who had a 22-acre plot right out here, and he would invite his fellow steam tractor owners to tractor pulls and races and picnics. But then in the early 1960s, Elliot Donnelly, one of our major benefactors, he went ahead and gave the society enough money to acquire an additional 133 acres, giving us 155 acres today. It was shortly after that time that they built the track. The track itself is about 2.5 miles long, and the trip that we're taking today is going to take approximately 20 minutes to complete. As we make our way around the bend here, if you look off to your left, you'll see a large bean field. That's part of our museum property. The property line extends all the way over to that tree line there, and that tree line is the Michigan-Indiana state line. The museum is in the town of Hesston, Indiana. Well, we're being entertained today by a group of deer. It's great. The town is Hesston, Indiana. His claim to fame is it's the most northerly town in all of Indiana. It was started in 1835 and originally known as Mays Corner when Matthew Mays built a blacksmith shop. But then later in 1856, Peter Hess moved from New York. He started a sawmill and a store, and the town adopted his name. There was an 1840 white schoolhouse here, but I don't think that's with us anymore. But then in 1892, the town built a brick schoolhouse, and that brick schoolhouse is on our museum property. We actually use it for meetings occasionally.
It's part of it. Down by Hesston Bar, you go left or right.
But I mean, it's in the port.
Oh, no.
Pretty bad.
Yeah, it is.
Well, that's like...
Oh, yeah. You can.
Yeah.
As we make our way around this next tight turn, or next bend, which we call Michigan Curve, if you look over to your left, you'll see a little sign. It's about 25 feet off the track. It's the Michigan-Indiana state line. Now, Michigan Curve is very representative of why narrow gauge was used, because it's a very tight turn, and at the same time, we're going to be attempting to make a 7% climb up the hill. This is why narrow gauge was used out in the mountainous areas. Let's see if this Sandley has the power to do this. Just as a point of reference, today's standard gauge railways typically don't have anything greater than a 2% grade. And we just did a 7% grade. And right there in the middle of it, it's about 10%. So apparently they do know how to build these steam locomotives. The Hesston Steam Museum is a 501c3 not-for-profit organization. All the people you see working out here today are volunteers. We use the money that you generously gave to us via ticket sales in which to buy fuel for our trains. We use coal, we use wood, we use diesel, and we use gasoline. We also have to repair our trains, we have to repair our tracks. We try to do a lot of that in-house with our shops, but we still have to buy a whole bunch of parts from outside. We have to try and keep our buildings maintained. It's, again, all because of your donations. We really, really appreciate it.
There's also there the compressor.
Oh, yeah. I'll have to bring them back out here for like 5 or 6.
No, they're not opening today. They don't have anything trades working on today.
Coming up here over on your right, you'll see a big white barn. That's our locomotive house. That's where we store locomotives and perform maintenance on them. Coming up over here on your left, you'll see another large white barn. That's our passenger car barn. That's where we store the passenger cars and several other pieces of equipment. Speaking of passenger cars, the one you're riding in today also came from the Brookfield Zoo. The zoo discontinued its train in 1985. We were able to acquire 8 cars and 2 steam locomotives from them in 2002, but they had been left outside for most of that time, so they were in severe disrepair. But thanks to all the volunteer hours that were spent getting these things back into shape, we were able to run 1 steam locomotive and 4 passenger cars. Up and coming events here at the Hesston Steam Museum, Labor Day weekend, we have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday we'll have trains, as many trains and as much steam equipment running as we possibly can. Then later on in October, the last 3 weekends of October, we'll have our ghost train running. And then in December, the first 2 weeks of December, we'll have our Christmas train. On behalf of all the volunteers out here at the Hesston Steam Museum, thank you for coming out and riding the Hesston and Galena Creek Narrow Gauge Railway. As we pull into the station, we ask that you remain seated. You're going to hear one last blast of the whistle, and upon that blast, it'll be safe to disembark. Again, thank you for coming out. Hopefully you get a chance to enjoy some of our other exhibits. We have our gift shop open, we have our dock soda fountain open, we have all three railroads running. We've got our blacksmith shop open, and we now have our steamworks open. They're all fun places to visit. Thank you for coming. Hesston Junction, watch your step.
I think so. Got it. Here we go.